Cosmo. Cosmo, can you say, hey, Cosmo. Cosmo.
Hey, open your door.
Too fixated on Mom, on Grandma. Grandma's coming.
Damn it.
Oh no, alcohol abuse. Alcohol abuse. You wear that for the video?
No. Don't we need something to put this on?
No, we just hold it. Maybe wipe it down a little bit. So you abuse the alcohol. How dare you?
Sad.
Bruised it and everything.
Oh my God, I'm still doing it.
It's okay, we really want to get rid of this carpet.
Yeah. Okay. How do I look?
You look
Stunning.
better than me.
Okay, wait now.
'Cause I'm fat and ugly.
Oh, I can't get in here. Seriously, I gotta put this down so I can at
Here,
least
let
sit.
me have it.
Oh. Yeah, you need to sit down, dog.
I know my couch is just too comfortable. Scooch over a little bit this way. I need you in the frame.
You're gonna spill. Ugh.
All right, ready?
No, but all right.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Britt, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should, because I normally talk about geeky things, but sometimes I sit down on my couch and tell you guys the crazy stories about the reasons why I drink. And today I have a guest star again, my mother, for yet another special episode. This time we're going to talk about, because it's Halloween.
And we're not drinking wine.
We're not drinking wine. I'm drinking a screwdriver, and she's drinking
Kind of a Cosmo.
kind of a Cosmopolitan minus a triple sec.
My kind of version of.
Yeah, you like it better than your regular Cosmo, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
It's essentially like a vodka cranberry, I guess.
With raspberry.
With a little bit of raspberry thrown in.
Yeah.
So, I don't know about you guys, but we in this family are firm believers in ghosts. Because I grew up in a haunted house. Like, full on, I grew up in a haunted house.
Yeah, so did my husband.
Yeah.
I did too. Grew up in a haunted house.
Yeah. Though, my sister liked to tell me that your parents' house was also haunted.
There was odd things, but I don't know that it was full on haunted. I mean, not like what
we experienced in Breezy Point, what Dad experienced.
What Dad says he
experienced
had
on the farm.
Yeah, some real freaky things.
We experienced some really weird things in Breezy Point. So I grew up in a very small town called Breezy Point. It's in central Minnesota. So small that I had to go to the next town over to go to school. Matter of fact, my school was K through 12 until my senior year of high school. It was K through 12 for you too, wasn't it?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, except for the K part.
Right,
well, I suppose they did have kindergarten at some point. Yeah, I didn't go to kindergarten.
Yeah, but my mom and I graduated from the same high school.
Same high school.
Matter of fact, I graduated from the same high school that all of her siblings, aside from the one that passed away at 2.5, all graduated from.
Yes. Yes.
Because Mark graduated there, Debbie, Teresa, Barbara, and even Mark's wife, Gloria, all graduated from Peabody Lakes High School.
Yep. So, great high school, though. I mean, it was. Well, I thought so at the time. You know.
Went downhill. Anyway, that's not the point. No, it wasn't Pine River. That's like the big rival. Yeah. It was that and Staples. Anyway, so I grew up in this very small town, Breezy Point, and it was a very haunted house. My first experience, I don't think, was the ghost. That was a very different experience. So my memory of that experience was that I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw very strange things in my bedroom. As a matter of fact, this experience had me afraid of my bedroom, had me afraid of my sister's bedroom, to the point that...
This is the one where the goat came up out of your...
Yeah, my first experience.
Right. You had this animal pile, this stuffed animal pile. And it was pretty substantial. I mean, there was probably a lot. It was halfway up the wall.
When we moved from Madison, didn't we fill one of our cars? We had to like tow one of our cars.
It was a little car. It was a small car. But between the two, between both you and Melissa, there was a lot of stuffed animals. Yeah. And so it was piled up in this corner, pretty much halfway, maybe even more than halfway up the wall.
Yeah.
And what she experienced...
Well, the first thing I saw was weird white, like, clouds flying above my bed. And then I looked over, and in my toy pile, I saw something climbing out of it, which turned out to be, like, a goat. And then I saw this white figure all of a sudden right next to my bed. And it was a woman, and she told me, go to your mom and dad. I was terrified, so I jumped out of bed and I ran. I left my sister behind. Like, you had to go through my sister's bedroom to get to my bedroom, and I left my sister behind.
But she wasn't, in trouble, obviously.
No.
You don't know why
this evilness was coming after me.
Yeah.
Because then later you guys found out that goats were symbolic for the devil.
I think we knew it at the time.
Oh, did you? Okay.
But you wouldn't have.
Right. I had no idea.
You were like 4.
Yeah. I was very young.
Very little. And
it was right after Teresa had passed away.
Right, and my mom...
Because Grandma was convinced it was
Teresa.
Totally
convinced that it was Teresa who came to wake you up and to tell you to go into the other room. But, that's debatable, I guess.
So it had to have been 5.
Just glad that happened. I'm not sure what would have happened, if anything, but it's still not good to have... Oh, and then when we went to check your room, because you were convinced, there was something coming out of your animal pile, when we got back to your room, your animal pile was messed up. And I had just put it all back up into this pile before bed. So, I guess it could have been that you had messed it up, and you were making up this story. But at 4 years old, I can't imagine.
Well, I
don't think you slept in that room again.
No, I never did, because I was too afraid to go back there.
Even we set you up in a different
when
area.
I was a teenager, right before Dad sold the house, I still couldn't go back there very easily. Like, I would have to carry a cat with me back there, because I was always told that animals were more in tune with the supernatural, and I was so afraid that I would bring like Frisky with me or Casey with me
so
back there.
And then another incident, I think must have been like on a Saturday morning. You were in the living room watching TV.
Is this the one with Melissa?
I know, yes. You were in the living room watching
Ghosts like
TV,
to blame
always me for shit. Watching TV. That is what you did. And Melissa was in her bedroom, which is she. And you do have.
I was either
to
watching TV
through,
or doing exactly what I'm doing right now.
Well, it could be, but that was a little bit different back then. But
just in front of the internet.
Anyway, so Melissa was in her room, and I don't know what she was doing, but obviously playing, and I was in the kitchen. Yeah, I suppose cleaning, making dinner, whatever it was, but. Melissa came running into the kitchen.
And you could see the living room from the kitchen.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily the open concept of today, but
it was open concept for the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, it was 80s and 90s. So anyway, so I was in the kitchen and Brittany was in the living room and Melissa came running in, and the door to their bedroom, because yes, you had to go through first a library, then Melissa's room, and then get to Brittany's room.
And that den was my bedroom for a little while too.
Right, that library den thing. But anyway, so she came running in, and that door was like right there off of the living room, right off the kitchen. So she came running in, mad, just totally upset. Would you tell Brittany to quit throwing stuffed animals at me? And I said, she's not doing that. She's in the living room. And she had never left the living room. So we went into Melissa's bedroom, and she was she must have came in here because she's throwing stuffed animals at me. And there were stuffed animals everywhere. Little, nothing big, but still kind of disconcerting. Didn't like that at all.
I remember one story Melissa told me too was another one that happened in her bedroom was she had this like friendship bracelet or something like that, and she also had one of those like stuffed animal troll dolls. So the troll dolls, how they're like plastic with the like fuzzy hair. She had like one of these bigger ones that were like stuffed animals and then had like the plastic head and then the fuzzy hair. And it was like at the base of her bed. And she told me that she went to bed one night. This was back when she had her water bed. And she was too afraid of losing her bracelet in the water bed. And so she took it off and threw it across the room. The next morning, it was on the troll doll, which arms are usually like this, but the troll doll's arm was like this. And it was around the troll doll's arm.
Well, I don't remember that.
That's a story she told me a long, long time ago. I don't know how true it is or like how much it could have been explained. But, I mean, that troll doll usually, I mean, you had to force the arm up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Very strange.
I do remember, many, many, many times, oh my God, coming home to all of the water in the house being on.
Hot
it was
water.
the hot water, but of course it wasn't hot anymore.
Right.
Because, obviously it had been on for a long time.
Every faucet.
And every faucet. Every faucet. The kitchen faucet, both bathroom faucets. I mean, it was just weird. And at first, we thought it was something wrong with our plumbing, which doesn't make any sense, I guess. But for the most part, we thought that it had to be explainable. How do you come home to that?
Somebody sneaking into the house and turning on all the hot water.
Yeah, and then your dad would come. I don't remember this, but your dad talked about coming home to the stereo blaring.
The stereo blaring.
Just blaring.
I had an electronics situation too. Because I would get home at 3:30, and at 3:30 at the time on UPN was when Pokemon aired. So I'd get home just enough time. I would always miss the opening theme, but I would be able to watch the majority of the show. So I'd run down, because we had a long driveway, I'd run down the driveway, I'd get into the house, I'd run into the family room, turn on the TV, run into the kitchen, grab a snack, and go sit down and watch Pokemon. It was kind of my after-school activity every single day.
So you were in the other part of the house at that time?
Yes. This would have been probably when I was 10, 11, 12.
So she had moved, that night with the stuffed animal incident, the goat coming out, she had moved out of that room, completely moved out of that room.
And into the library.
In the library.
So instead of having to go through my sister's room to get to my room, now my sister...
She had to go through her room to get to her room.
My sister had to go through my room to get to her room.
So then we also, what we had done then is taken the garage that was off of the side of the house and converted that into 2 bedrooms and a living room or a family room. And so that's where you guys...
Yeah, so my sister and I moved into those 2 bedrooms. And so that's, at this point, what would have happened. So I ran, so then it didn't happen every day, but it would happen pretty frequently, where I'd run in there and then all of a sudden the channel would change.
Oh, I remember, yeah. Oh my God, you get so mad. I remember that.
The channel would just randomly change. Nobody else was in the house. It was just me. My sister was driving at this point. She was somewhere else. She would, she had her freedom. Mom and Dad were at work. I was literally the only person in the house. And I would go turn on the TV, get it to UPN, run into the kitchen, and the second I reached the kitchen, I would turn around and the channel would change.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
And you could see the TV from the kitchen.
Yeah.
So, all the way across, you could see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was weird. That was just so strange.
Very strange situation.
Very odd things.
One of the other experiences that I had experienced myself was when I was in that bedroom that used to be the garage. That was my final bedroom in that house. And I woke up again, it was in the middle of the night, but I woke up and I saw him, the ghost. And he was just sitting in my room.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, he was just sitting in my room. And I asked him, I said something to him. You
weren't afraid. You didn't.
No, I wasn't afraid of him. I was more or less thinking maybe he was protecting me. He was making sure I was safe. Because I know that we had that one experience in the house, and that was the only time I was ever afraid. Was that experience.
I don't think it was him.
No.
That wasn't him. I do remember another incident though, and I don't. Obviously, the timing is a little off here because this was prior to you guys moving into those rooms. Because I remember we were still
in what was the guest room.
Your dad and I were still back behind the kitchen. Eventually, what we had done is we took both Melissa's and Brittany's room. Brittany's room became your
walk-in closet,
and then Melissa's room became a kind of a sitting room for us. And then we built on
to create
another bedroom, so it was new, and we didn't have to worry about the ghost or anything. So we built that.
That's how serious we were about this whole ghost thing. We were adding on to the house.
Well, and then that's supposed to, stir up stuff too. But anyway, this was prior to all of that because we were in the back bedroom, or we were still in the bedroom behind the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember where your dad was, but he was not there, and it was
probably
late.
During Target.
Well, no, I would have been.
I suppose you would have been working too if it was during Target.
So
my parents used to sell candles to Target.
Yeah, and so many late nights with that. But in this case, I don't know where he was, but he was due home that night, and I was in the bedroom, and the only window faced out onto the porch. That was the front door. You'd have to come onto the porch in order to come into the house. It's really the only entry. And other than the glass sliding doors off of the lakeside. But Yeah, that wouldn't have been it. Anyway, so the point is that, and that's where the driveway came to. The driveway came, and the garage was there and everything. So, I mean, that window would have been, kind of an eye out onto whoever was coming into the house, or
which I know you guys feel a little safer.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't think about it that much at that point, but anyway, so I was in bed and I wasn't sleeping, I was reading and just kind of waiting for Al to get home. And we're right behind the kitchen, so our door would open up into kind of a tiny little hallway that opened then up into the kitchen.
And the bathroom was on the other side of that hallway.
The bathroom was on the other side of that hallway, and then, then there's the kitchen and kind of the dining room, which we never really used as a dining room. Well, I guess we did.
Yeah, we actually did pretty frequently.
Anyway, so there's this expansive wall. So like the whole front wall, like I'm laying in bed and this whole wall that I'm facing is pretty much the kitchen entryway kind of place. Anyway, it's quiet now. The kids are asleep. It's very, very quiet. It's incredibly quiet out there. We lived in Breezy Point on a area where there was just very little traffic, very little people who actually were there. And I heard someone walking across the kitchen. Actually tiptoeing. I mean, I heard that. They were tiptoeing, trying to be quiet, walking across the kitchen. And I thought, oh, Al was trying to scare me. He was walking into the house. He was going to scare me. Oh, I was mad. I thought, that's not fair. Oh, that just makes me upset. But then it dawned on me, I would have heard him drive up. There's no way he could have come into even if he walked off of the street. I mean, there's just no way. The only entrance that he could get into, even the glass sliding door was locked and had the little bar thing, on the bottom. So even if he had a key, which he didn't, wouldn't get in that way.
You would have heard the garage door if he was going to sneak into the garage.
Something. Yeah,
you would have heard the sliding glass door if he came in the back.
Well, yeah, and there was
technically the front because we lived on a lake.
Yeah, but again, like I said, there was a bar at that. In the nighttime, there was a bar. Well, so I mean, there was a bar that put bar into the door. So I mean, even if the door wasn't locked, you still couldn't get in.
There was no way he could have snuck into the house.
Right. So that wasn't Al. I figured out pretty dang quick it wasn't Al. And it wasn't somebody trying to scare me. There was somebody in the house. There was somebody in the house. He was coming toward my bedroom door, and I didn't know what to do. Now I had lights on, but that wasn't going to help.
Right.
There was a gun like right here. I mean, he had it propped up in the corner. Wasn't loaded. I mean, and I wouldn't know how to use it anyway. So, and I honestly have to admit, I didn't even think of it. I didn't know what to do.
Could have grabbed it just out of fear.
Well, yeah, but I didn't. Honest to God, didn't think of it.
Well, you don't think of those kinds of things.
No. The one thing I did think of, the only way that I was going to, and my kids were in the next room. I mean, I needed to do something because there was somebody in the house, and, I'd watch TV. So the only thing I could think to do was to come out of that bed screaming and yelling and stomping my feet, waving my arms, and coming into that kitchen scaring the bejeebies out of whoever was going to try to scare me, right? So I did just that. Mm-hmm. I came out of that bedroom screaming my head off, wailing my arms, stomping my feet. Nobody. There was nobody there.
And it was like footsteps. It wasn't the house settling.
Not my imagination.
Yeah, it wasn't the house settling.
It was somebody walking because I heard the footsteps coming across the floor, and they were tiptoeing, and the floor was creaking in the right places where some weight was being put. I mean, I know my kitchen. I mean, I had lived there for years and years and years. I knew what that sounded like because I had been there time and time and time again. So that was kind of a personal experience for me.
Well, you had one other one, but that one, we're not sure if it was sleep paralysis or if it was really the ghost.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I was sleeping. So that was at least something to be, not possibly true. But there was somebody standing outside the bed. I mean,
it could have been sleep paralysis.
Right.
Because people do picture that kind of stuff with sleep paralysis.
Yeah, so that was my only other. And I don't count that, honestly. But what I do count is this. We had a friend and his name was Dale Caruso.
Yes, oh, Dale.
And he, wonderful guy.
I love the fact that before he died, we were able to all reconnect with him again.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, it was pretty important. But anyway, he was a radio personality, and talk about personality. That man,
such a great personality,
was just crazy. And
he actually put me on the radio many a time.
Oh goodness, yeah. Well, only once with me, and we won't talk about that.
I miss Dale.
Anyway, oh my gosh. Anyway, so he came to. I mean, he was a frequent visitor. I mean, and at one point we kind of told him about this. I mean, I didn't know, how to. I really kind of kept it quiet because I didn't know how people were going to react to this. Oh, yeah, right. She's a crazy lady, the crazy candle lady, right? So,
and we had a lot of cats.
Yeah,
so.
and a lot of cats. Well, yeah, there was that too. But again, not part of the story. Anyway, so he came into the house one night, and we were, drinking and talking, like we're doing tonight. And he said, "Hey, don't worry about it. Go in every room of your house, every corner of your house, and say the Lord's Prayer as a family. All 4 of you. Go into every corner of your house, every room, say the Lord's Prayer as a family. It'll stop." Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Have you been here when we can't even have hot water because the hot water's on every freaking day? Yeah. I mean, we can't.
So we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
And it stopped for a long time.
For a long time it stopped.
Until I was about a teenager and you and Dad split up for a little while. Yeah, I think that was where it started to come back.
Well, then again, like you allow evil to enter
your house, yeah.
And that was kind of a bad time in our lives too, and I think that was part of it too. But
yeah,
that was kind of even a huge moment too, where you can't then look at that and go, well, that's explainable. How do you explain that? It just quit. It just stopped.
Weird stuff were happening all the time.
Yeah, it just stopped.
Yeah. But so there you go. One of the reasons why I drink, because I grew up in a haunted house, and everybody in my family had had at least one experience, and yeah, it was just a very strange thing to grow up in. Very strange thing to grow up in, but I'm glad I did because I believe in ghosts. So when people talk about ghost stories, I'm like, I believe that stuff.
Yeah, and your dad believes too, very, very much, because again, same thing. He has stories, crazy stories. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in a haunted house. I mean, even the house. I mean, Melissa would say when she went back to Grandma's house, up on the point, or not on the point, but the that was it. Yeah, that's the thing. Oh God. Well, I've had experiences in that house, but it really. But you also built the house.
We grew up in Cross Lake.
Right. It wasn't haunted.
You guys built the house. But anyway, so there we have it. That's one of the reasons why I drink. Thank you for joining me again, Mom.
Thank you. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
It's all done. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Oof.